All right, let's get into Recess.
Yeah.
Recess was a show, pretty much the headlining show. Definitely the headlining show on the ABC One Saturday morning block, which is where Disney was putting their Saturday morning cartoons, and basically all the cartoons they were doing at the time, because this is before the Disney Channel.
Yeah, it was after the Disney Afternoon, but before the Disney Channel.
Oh yeah, the Disney Afternoon. The Disney Afternoon was a bit before my time. I was like a tiny baby. Whereas this, like, I was like as old as these kids were, or maybe a little yet. I think the movie came out when I was in 4th grade, actually. So I was like in 2nd or 3rd grade when this show, was, on every Saturday morning. And like, for long periods of time growing up, Nina and I did not have cable. So this was, so One Saturday Morning was one of our main sources of cartoons. That and like,
yeah, it was super exciting.
That and the
Saturday morning. I don't.
The bit, like the other stuff we watched, like Kids WB on Saturday mornings that had like Pokemon and shit, and the block that became the Fox box, but I think it's just called Fox Kids for a while.
Yeah, it was Fox Kids.
That's what we
Back
had.
when it was good.
Yeah, I mean, on that we were mostly just watching Digimon.
Yeah, actually, you know what? Yeah, Fox Kids kind of always was it was always, what's on Kids WB? This is stupid. What's on Fox Kids? I guess this is fine. Cause the other options weren't great.
But yeah, Recess is one of the few shows to sort of premiere on One Saturday Morning, be aired the entire time of One Saturday Morning, then be moved to their Disney's 1-2 block, then onto Toon Disney, then onto Disney Channel, and now even Disney XD. It's been on the air for a long time.
It crossed over with Lilo and Stitch.
Well,
in 2006?
There was a lot of Lilo and Stitch crossovers with Disney properties.
Yeah.
There was one for the last Disney show we did. What was that one?
Kim Possible.
Kim Possible, yeah.
There was one with the Proud Family.
Uh-huh.
And there was one with this one. Was there another one, or was that it?
I don't know. It was just, the excuse was like, oh, we're gonna go to Hawaii on vacation.
I mean, that's a good excuse. I mean, honestly, that's a good excuse. That one of the whole points of the film, like, or at least one of the subtle lower points of the film was, like, the whole thing with, like, she hates tourists and shit.
Yeah. So,
Her rival was the one white girl.
the whitest Hawaiian.
Well, she might have been mixed. But our buddy Edgar, who wrote into us, suggested that we explain what the show is about before we get into the technical background. So let's do that real quick before we forget.
It's pretty
Recess.
It's pretty basic. It's about 6 kids in like a standard cartoon suburban town, and it just focuses on
elementary school.
They're 4th grade. Because in the late 90s, that was, like, the money age. Like, that was also Hey Arnold. And I feel like school-based shows have kind of inched their way older since, but I'm not totally sure. I haven't watched a lot of those recently. They may just not exist as much.
They haven't made a lot of school-based shows. It's not interesting anymore.
Because school sucks.
Yeah, who wants to fucking come home from school and then watch people be in school?
You know what doesn't happen in school? Adventure.
Yeah.
Fun.
Fun.
Happiness.
None of these things.
The success of this show is very evident in like the sort of wish fulfillment that it provided. This is a show in which, Recess was treated as like this sacred rite of passage for kids. It's like the most episodes, as the name would indicate, focus on like I think the recess was like 45 goddamn minutes long.
Yeah, the recess was 45 minutes.
Last time I had recess, it was like 14.
Really?
Well,
I forget how long my recess was.
Well, no,
I think standard is like 30.
Yeah, I think 30 is like standard. Like, though when we went to that private school, we had a 15-minute in the morning and then a half an hour in the afternoon. So that's 45.
There's so much of like looking back at that school. It's like, what were they doing? That school was bizarre.
Not much.
But when I was in 3rd grade, I didn't have recess. Or in 2nd grade.
Yeah, because
so I was absolutely ecstatic when I moved to that school. I was like, they have a fucking sliding bar on the jungle gym? Oh!
Yeah, because like recess is the thing. I wouldn't be surprised if there just isn't any recess anymore. Like all the villains from this show won. Cause
they won.
Yeah, because there's something.
They already were winning when the show came out.
Yeah, it was already on its way out because schools don't have any money. They have less than no money. They have no
money and ain't no time.
And again, like test scores and shit. Like it's very prescient. But yeah, it's about, these 6 kids who like just them trying to have fun. And like there's a bit of, we haven't talked about this in a while. This show's magical realism?
It's
kind of.
It's similar to Arnold in the sense that it has like this child like
some certain episodes of Arnold were more magical realism than others. I don't think Recess. If there were, then I don't think we watched any.
Okay, so
it's more like this presence of like this child child created myths and culture.
Yeah, it's like they have a recess culture that isn't actually real.
Yeah, but it's like built up from notions of like little ad hoc cultures that form. And like
I mean, they've got their own class structure.
It's like if every clique was a sovereign nation.
Yeah, it's a microcosm of politics.
Yeah,
basically.
Each group of friends is its own like Galapagos Islands, just developing completely separate of everyone else for millennia.
Yeah, it's like it's bringing up the basic notions of like of the culture that forms on a playground, which it's obviously exaggerated, but like it brings it to its logical extension, and I think that is what was so resonant. The idea of the one time a day when you get to have some goddamn fun at school, and like
you get to make your whole world.
Would that make King's Bob Empire like colonial? If they're all their own thing.
I guess.
I'm not sure how much authority he had.
He could punish
I think
people.
It's like he was just like, I'm king now, and he didn't actually do anything, so no one really cared enough.
Well, what it was,
people listened to him.
Well, you know what it was? Where I bet that originated from is that like some kid, the first king, was like, "This is my goddamn jungle gym." So like he won King of the Hill or some shit, and then like started bossing people around.
You guys said I was king now. I'm gonna do something with it.
Yeah, I think it's that kind of idea. It's like, these authority that would build up from games, and then you make, and then that instead of ending when the people started bringing you back into school to be miserable again, it's like constant.
Is that how real kings started?
Probably.
Where'd that even?
If any anthropology majors listen to our show, tell me I'm right.
If you're one of the smallest population of people in this like Venn diagram that both love the shit out of Recess and are anthropologists,
yeah, I mean it's like
hit us up.
Whoever had the biggest like spear was the guy who got all the stuff.
Yeah, I mean King Bob is a 6th grader. He's the strongest and the coolest, and everybody listens to him because if they don't, then they get sent to the dodgeball wall. Get pelted with balls.
Throw him up against the wall.
Voiced by season 1 Hey Arnold.
Oh.
Yeah, there was a lot of Hey Arnold
voices. That's one thing.
Upside Down Girl was Helga.
So was one of the Ashleys and Swinger Girl.
And one of the bully kid was Harold, obviously.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, the big kid.
This show also used actual child actors, and because they were made around the same times, those kids were actually able to have more than one job.
How nice.
Which is kind of cool.
How nice for them.
Speaking of the cast, let's go into the main cast.
Yeah.
April Winchell is Muriel Finster, the best performance in this show.
Oh my god. Yeah, before she was Sylvia, she was a hilarious, grouchy...
Yeah, she was just ripping apart one Saturday morning.
Oh my god. What else was she doing in One Saturday Morning?
She was Lydia Pearson.
Oh, Pepper Ann's mom, too. Yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
Oh, I hear it now.
Yeah. No, like, I was one episode in, I was like, oh, fuck, that's April Winchell. I looked it up and I was right.
Yeah. She also plays TJ's mom.
Yeah. Doing a more reasonable person voice.
It's her natural voice. It's just her speaking voice.
That was my favorite goof with Finster, is in the movie there was a flashback to the 70s and she's like a young woman and still has the same horrible voice.
I did the math. I did that math.
I thought it was awesome.
She either has aged like horribly, or she's either way older than she looks now, or she was way younger than she looked back then, and I don't know which is worse.
I don't know.
But yeah,
I mean,
instead of April Winchell doing a young person voice, she's just doing the same horrible old lady voice.
But you wouldn't know it was her if she didn't. Yeah. Otherwise, she would just sound like TJ's mom, and you're like, "Who's this lady?" And I don't know. I think it's awesome when young women have gravelly voices. And it was the 60s, so she was probably smoking a lot. Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, those are my favorite musicians. They're gravelly voiced women.
And she probably wasn't smoking cigarettes.
But yeah, the cast of kids. It's not a diverse group racially. There's one person of color and one person who's implicitly but never confirmed to be Jewish. We're basically just working off of his last name, Mikey Bloomberg.
Well, no, TJ's also implied to be Jewish, because there's some references to, like, bar mitzvah and, like, I don't remember what.
Yeah, but the diversity comes in, like, the kids' interests and, like, all the stuff they're into. You know, you got the sporty guy, you got the poetry guy, you got the... What was your description of Spinelli? Dude, you had a dope tweet.
Oh, every tomboy after 1997 was just trying to be Spinelli.
Exactly. Yeah. And none of them could pull that shit off.
Hell
she
no.
She looked so cool.
She looked legitimately
cool. She's the
queen.
Her outfit is so cool for a 9-year-old. Those boots?
I've never dressed that well in my life.
It took me years to get to that point. And she says she doesn't like girly stuff.
It was 90s. Punk was back for a bit. You've got the, Gus is something of a nerd. You've got the super studious in Gretchen, and then you've got just the, like, fun-having Hellraiser in TJ.
Mm-hmm.
So, what that allows from a writing standpoint is for them to do episodes that focus on a bunch of different stuff. Yeah, it's a bunch of different character dynamics that do work off of each other pretty well. One thing I found about the show revisiting is it does hold up very well, mostly in its, like, how imaginative it is. Humor is okay.
Yeah. Well, the referential humor is funnier for me now that I'm an adult and I get the jokes.
Yeah. Like, oh my god. There's some shit in the movie, like, I scream, that line when Finster busts in for the big fight scene and that line she drops. Punch my laptop.
Oh my god.
What was it again?
Hey teacher, leave them kids alone.
Oh yeah!
Yeah, and like, there was some line about, like, being forgotten, and, like, Mikey was listing off this whole list, and it was like, the other 4 members of the Jackson 5.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But I think my favorite bit, which wasn't supposed to be as funny as I found it, because was in the Ashley episode, where they find out that Spinelli's first name is Ashley, and they all pretend to be named Ashley, so they don't want to have the club anymore. And then, because, like, you can't be named Ashley, you're a guy. It's the 90s!
Yeah.
Ashley was always a boy's name. But yeah, most of the episodes evolve around one or more of the kids kind of trying to seek a balance between individuality and, like, the social order. You know, and a lot of that has to do with, like, defending their freedom against, like, the adults in the school and, like, social norms, but also, like, wanting to conform to their recess society, too.
God damn, I didn't get that.
They reject adult society, but
I
they
didn't make it to senior year of college like you did. Man, wow, you're right.
Yeah. So it's like practice for the real world, though they wouldn't realize that because they're 9. But that's really what they're doing. And that was what was always so fascinating for me as a kid, because it was like being an anthropologist, but of, like, I'm watching the children at the playground, and, like, how do they organize themselves? Like, as a kid, I love to learn, like, the different rules and the names for everybody, and, like, how everything was structured in, like, this very simple, easy to understand way.
That was actually
an episode. What are those 2 kids digging for?
I know. How are they allowed to just dig holes?
That was actually an episode that wasn't on our list, but I do remember, is that some person who was like a child psychologist or something came in and was like trying to hang with them and like study children in their natural environment. And eventually her presentation was like an anthropology thing. It's like all these fucking wild animals running around.
Well, yeah.
And the fucking kindergartners.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and the way that the staff, there was always somebody whose job was just like, I don't know if they taught any class, but I remember there was like nasty old ladies whose job was to yell at kids at recess. That was the person.
Usually the gym coaches. Like, when they weren't doing gym, their job was to look at...
Yeah, because they're already barely teachers, so they have to justify their jobs wherever they can.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I tried to find... I tried to find more information about, like, the characters, and I brought up TJ's, Recess fan wiki page, and I have no idea how true any of these things I'm reading are.
Okay, let's list some. I did some of my own research, so let's see.
Well, I mean, okay, in the... specifically Italian dub.
This is already awesome.
TJ's favorite show is Darkwing Duck. I don't know how they wrote that in. I agree.
Well, I know they changed some of the names in the Italian dub. Like
to Darkwing Duck?
I don't know about that. Well, I do know that Spinelli's last name literally means spliffs in Italian, and they did not change it.
Oh, dope!
That's pretty good. Okay, but in Japan...
Yes, I'm looking at this.
TJ's a fan favorite in Japan. He's considered the show's mascot and is considered to be Moe.
Yeah, he's Kawaii-sa.
TJ's Moe.
I know, like, I kept reading everybody talking about how cute TJ was, and I was like...
I mean, I guess.
He's
He's a chubby boy. He's a cute.
When I was a kid, I thought he was supposed to be the cool kid, not the cute kid.
I mean, I didn't. Look at him.
I mean,
stupid
now
90s
as an adult, I'm like, man, TJ, bleh, you're like my least favorite.
Spinelli's the cool one.
Yeah.
Even as a kid, I knew that.
Yeah.
And as we were saying earlier, she's the most stylish.
Cool kid. Mm-hmm.
I think one of my favorite jokes concerning TJ was I forget. Okay, it was the episode where they were trying to figure out what their teacher was up to. Their hippie teacher, who I love.
She's
crap! Her name is so weird.
Grokey.
Grokey. She's my favorite. I love her.
They find this box that's like important to her, and then they're just like, wait a minute, what if it's radioactive? And TJ goes, it's cool. I have a jacket.
He's stupid.
Yeah, but no,
They're all
Grokey.
stupid. They're kids.
Grokey,
Gretchen's not stupid.
I didn't really remember much about Grokey. Like, I actually remembered a lot of this show. A lot of it came back as I was watching. I did not remember that Grokey was the best character.
Yeah, no, she's great.
Like, she was all like, okay, kids, take these textbooks with a grain of salt because they were all written by white men a long, long time ago.
She's like...
I want to follow her on Tumblr.
She's like the best of Tumblr 15 years ahead of everything.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, children, turn to your books to the chapter where we talk about how the terrible Europeans took away the land from the Native Americans for no reason.
Yeah,
oh my God.
And like, back in like 1998, we were still getting off for Columbus Day. That was not like common knowledge that he was the worst man ever yet.
Yeah, and she didn't shave and like
she knows martial arts.
Yeah, she had
and she was all like,
and she's an amateur magician.
Like during the Mama episode when somebody like drew the mean picture of Spinelli, she was like, "Oh, come on, kids! The art of satire is best used against speaking against repressive totalitarian governments."
She's right there expressing like, my number one rule of comedy is never punch down, always punch up, or punch yourself. Those are the two rules. That's the thing.
And the gender stuff, like the founding fathers didn't think twice about excluding an entire gender from their ranks.
She's
like,
so
I look forward to reading your thoughts on how the male authors of the Constitution helped shape our gender-based society.
Yes!
She is the best teacher ever.
Oh, man.
And is so ahead of her time. And, like, that's the shit that I did not get at all as a kid.
That just didn't register with me. I didn't really remember Grotke at all until I watched this show. And I think I saw a post on Tumblr of, like, a lot of the quotes that we've been saying.
Yeah.
She's the best.
It's like rewatching Rugrats for the adults.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm getting the same reaction, like, as I haven't revisited Rugrats, but I've thought about Rugrats. I'm like, oh man, the adults were like the best characters. They were incredible.
They had a B plot. They always had a B plot that I didn't even register as a kid.
Part of why you might have been thinking about the Rugrats is that Paul Germain and Joe Ansolaberry, the creators, did work on Rugrats for its original run, which Rugrats' original run went till 1994 before it got renewed and kind of revamped, but they worked on that original run, so...
They also worked on season 1 of Hey Arnold.
Yeah, they worked on a lot of good stuff, and it shows, like, they have that more... I don't know why I keep coming to this word textured, but this more, like, textured approach to cartooning, where it's not, like, all flashy, it's very, like, mundane, but...
It's, like, subtle.
Subtle, yeah.
Like earthy, I don't know.
Earthy, yeah, it's like, it's got an earthy... It's like eating a bunch of dirt.
It's the film grain from the coloring and shit, I don't know.
Yeah. That's all it is.
That's all it is, honestly.
It just rubbed... Well, it's not that... It's the sound design. It's the sound of the voices using, like, these childish voices.
It's like the art style, especially in the backgrounds.
Mm-hmm.
And just the tone and...
Yeah.
And the color palette is a little dull.
Yeah, it's very dull color. Yeah.
Yeah, and then, like, when you, get to the movie, it's like the Hey Arnold movie. It's like, we didn't know what to do with his budget, so we made the shading a little better, but it's weird. It's like,
a little bit.
Yeah.
There's like a bit more dimensionality to it. And also, like, I was laughing my dick off at the first scene in the movie where it's like, here's the fucking, helicopter shot of the town, and there's all these 3D elements, but it looks like Animal Crossing. I can tell that those trees are 2D elements in a 3D space. And then when we zoom on in the playground, there's all these poorly scaled 2D kids running around and look like garbage.
Oh my god. When did the movie come out? Was it still the 90s?
No.
2001.
Yeah, because I remember I was in 4th grade. It was right after the toying of the millennium.
Mm-hmm. Like, I know the show is canonically supposed to take place between fall of 1999 and spring-summer of 1990. No, fall of 1997 and spring-summer of 1998. With the Taking the 5th Grade special being the latter one. We didn't watch that special. That was one of the direct-to-DVD specials they made. They made like 3 of those.
Yeah.
Recess, Christmas, Miracle on 3rd Street... Recess Taking the 5th Grade, and Recess All Grown Down. Which I'm assuming is a parody of All Grown Up.
Yeah, which is a weird choice to make. It's weird to skewer that.
I don't know, let's go to the movie, because I want to talk about this movie.
Yeah, let's talk about this cool movie.
Okay. This movie's fucking soundtrack is off the walls. They'll just put 30 seconds of a song in to prove they could. There's like...
Yeah, basically.
30 seconds of Dancing in the Street, 30 seconds of Born to Fucking Be Wild.
Yeah, they got one, like...
The One Is the Loneliest Number, not the Metallica one. They might as well have done that for how congruous the rest of the fucking music was. They had
Purple Haze.
Yeah, it's like, we're in the late 60s. This played just the opening of Purple Haze and then stopped, so we don't have to pay that much for it. Bit of Wipeout because people are running around. So why not? Ugh.
Let the sun shine in, like Nobody But Me.
This reminded me, actually, one thing I wanted to bring up in our Kim Possible episode is that episode when Ron got rich and he's like handing money out to everyone, and the only song they could get for that was Celebrate by Kool and the Gang. It's like, I guess it's not really germane. It's like tonally consistent, but it's not what the song's about. You want something like Cream by Wu-Tang or maybe Every Day I'm Hustling.
I guess.
If Cream was in Kim fucking Possible,
that would have been the best episode of a show full
It's already the best cartoon. Well, you can't do that. You can't make it that good. That's not fair.
But yeah, I was like, what the fuck with this? And it just keeps going, and then the ending sequence?
Yes!
fucking Green Tambourine by Robert Goulet, or performed by Robert Goulet. He's the guy who voices
the singing
Mikey's
voice of Mikey.
singing voice. Yeah. Yeah.
It's a psychedelic pop song from some band I've never heard of called the Lemon Pipers.
I mean, I think it's safe to assume that Paul and Joe are 60s kids. Because, like, why else would there be this random, like, explicit 60s interlude where everything is
I guess because it's like,
so
that's where
stereotypical.
that's where this plot all started.
Yeah, but, like, the way that they portrayed it was so over the top and ridiculous. Everything was fucking, like, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band mixed with Yellow Submarine mixed
all
with
the doors to the school were
Schoolhouse
beads.
Rock and like... Yeah, the door was beads!
They didn't even, like, reference something that people would have remembered from the 60s. Like, nothing that has stayed in the cultural consciousness. I've never heard of this fucking song or band. And they could have pulled out, like, you know, what's that, the last track off of Revolver? Tomorrow Never Knows or something?
Yeah.
Something like that, like, people remember.
Or this fucking song, Incense and Peppermints by Strawberry Alarm Clock? That sounds made up!
Yeah, that sounds like a goof that you would make when you're making fun of the 60s. And I was right, that is the name of that Beatles song.
Oh my
Nice.
gosh. Yeah, I love that whole sequence. It was just too much.
And speaking of too much, the villain of this movie is played by James Woods, who...
Whew!
That motherfucker has always needed to calm down. You know that guy's in the news recently because he was like saying some racist shit about Obama on Twitter because he's some conservative dickhead, and like somebody like made fun of him, and now he's trying to sue that person for $10 million fucking dollars. He's a crazy asshole.
What happened? Did they not put the Hercules franchise into Kingdom Hearts 3?
He's really bad. Like, he's a good actor, but he needs to calm down. Like, even his performance is like, this is a cartoon movie.
And this is such
It's like he's going for the fucking Oscar.
I know, and it's like, your villain is stupid. Nothing he's doing makes sense. His whole plot is ridiculous. Okay, so the movie
He's trying to fuck up the moon?
Yeah, the movie takes place, school's out, summer vacation, but all the other kids are going to camp and leaving TJ alone, and he's all like, me,
and they could, okay, they didn't even get the Alice Cooper song as the fucking subtitle of the movie. It's like, at least that would have, like, completely worked. Oh, but there's a line in there about blowing up a school. It's too violent. September 11th.
Well, they did release a soundtrack, so like, yeah.
Actually, this came out in February of 2001.
Okay, we were still good. Although
Nikki said that September 11th that just
but there was that dream sequence where Mikey got giant and was destroying a city, and they did stop it airing reruns for a bit.
Yeah.
So
anyway.
yeah, TJ's being all butthurt because he's alone. And then he starts, like, he rides his bike by the school and notices fucking weird shit going on, and it turns out it's this crazy guy, what's his name?
Filium Benedict.
Filium Benedict.
Star of London's West End.
Who is using the abandoned school as a base for his crazy scheme, where he's gonna end a summer vacation by moving the moon and changing its orbit, creating the Earth, completely affecting the Earth's temperature and essentially making a new ice age, so there's no summer and kids can't go outside and play ever, because that's gonna stop having a approximately 3 month break in the middle of the school year just because it's cold.
I feel like this, like, I think that maybe a draft of this movie might have been that, like, this sounds like a story that, like, TJ wrote.
It does. I mean, that was part of the whole thing. He couldn't convince anybody that it was happening.
This sounds like a non-canon adventure that was like a story TJ told.
It's like a What I Did on My Summer Vacation lie report he would have done.
Yeah.
Well, then he comes in the next year,
and then like Mr. like all the teachers are just like, TJ, like, we don't remember that happening. You can't trick us like that.
I mean, it makes no goddamn sense.
And then
like, how would he think anybody would be okay with that? Fucking up the moon and the Earth's temperature.
He robbed a military base in the first scene of the movie, and just like, he tased 2 guys and like left with a laser.
And also, like, this giant fuck-off satellite comes out of the roof of the school and, like, blasts a laser all the way to the moon, so everybody who's looking at the moon can see this.
But the only person who sees it is this chubby kid from Ohio, or wherever the hell this takes place.
You can't even make the excuse that, oh, like, maybe it's the middle of the night. It's, like, 10 p.m.
Yeah, it's the daytime.
It's basically daytime as far as, like, adults with cars on the roads are concerned.
So it's very dumb. It's extremely fucking stupid, but it's a lot of fun.
This made me think about the kind, like, cause like every long-lasting cartoon franchise gets like a movie, whether it's theatrical or not, and like, it's always this kind of thing where it's like they have to up the ante, but sometimes it just comes off really tonally dissonant compared to the actual show.
And it doesn't make a lot of sense.
Hey Arnold did the same thing with that weird spy shit that they were doing, so they had something to put in the trailers.
Yeah. It's so weird.
It's that whole "we're the kids in America" thing. Like, they need to make the movie like this so they have something to sell the movie itself, and it's this weird loophole.
Yeah, they saved the fucking world.
Yeah!
Like, what? How do you go from
they didn't even
antics?
really save the world. They saved Recess, which was not in danger.
Recess wasn't in danger. The world was in danger.
Yeah, he was gonna create an ice age. In that model he had with like his super futuristic technology, which nobody commented on, and I just realized now how fucking weird that was. He was like, oh, move the moon here, and then there won't be summer ever again anywhere. He was gonna
never be
He was gonna destroy
Okay, realistically that would end the world. But by going by this cartoon's logic, there would just not be summer and the world would be exactly the same just without summer.
Yeah, that's what TJ said. He was like, just because there's no summer doesn't mean we're not gonna fucking go outside and play and shit.
Yeah.
Well, he didn't say it like that.
Like, he said he was gonna put California in an ice age. That's where all the food in America's made.
And what are you doing?
You would
no wonder the
starve
government
the
fired your
country
ass.
in 1 year.
He's so obsessed with fucking Recess that he, like, wants to destroy everything.
It's very James Wood. Like, at this point, I would believe that James Wood would do that.
These children need to learn, goddammit.
I've got to destroy
and
Twitter.
It's like they can't, like, I like how this movie doesn't care about that show's logic, but they need to figure out a plot convenience so none of the camp counselors realize the kids aren't at their camp anymore. So they have to have that whole weird thing about TJ making his sister drive them back and forth all the fucking time.
Yeah,
it's like
those
just don't, like, you don't have to worry about that. No one cares about that plot thread.
Yeah, like, what the fucking, she's commuting every day, like, between all these damn camps throughout the entire state? Like, what the fuck?
Just so TJ won't post on the internet some entry about how she gave a sloppy handy or something.
While listening to the gentle gurgling of the deep fat fryer.
Yeah!
And listening to whatever terrible pop song would have been big. I guess Who Let the Dogs Out, Frank. Like,
oh my god, having your first
Who Let
the Dog Out.
Oh no, I know. That reminds me.
That would actually be like, if you're the worst person, but you really like to commit to horrible jokes, like, as soon as both of you are about to finish, you reach over, smash the space bar on your laptop. That starts blasting, and you've basically sexually ruined both this other person and yourself forever.
I'll never name names. It's not me though, but somebody but somebody's first intimate experience was while they were watching Sword Art Online. The anime.
That's even worse than the thing I just said.
No, because at least the first story is funny.
That's just sad.
The second one is just
no,
upsetting.
like, can you imagine like listening to Who Let the Dogs Out in a car with somebody and like looking over with the biggest shit-eating grin on your face, like, my first time was to this song. Then you put 2 fingers up to your mouth and stick your tongue out, and like you get.
No.
Back to this movie.
Oh,
But like I can imagine like James Wood at this point, he would set off a planet-wide EMP so that people couldn't make fun of him on Twitter anymore. It's the same caliber of like going overboard for something stupid.
Oh man.
So the story is that back in this groovy 60s, when the buses were all Technicolor and so was the school and the doors were beads.
And they froze to death in the winter.
Principal Prickly and Miss Muriel Finster.
We keep referring to her by her first name, which is said like in maybe 4 episodes.
I don't know, it just fits her really well.
Yeah.
And this fucking guy, Finian or whatever, is Philippine?
Benedict,
yeah. They were all working at 3rd Street School as young teachers. And Benedict had just been appointed principal of the school. He was like this hippie dude principal who came to school on a motorcycle with an American flag helmet.
one of those tassel-y, like tanned leather jackets.
Yeah, those fucking cowboy jackets. And they were all good friends, and Benedict was dating Finster, who still had her voice, was otherwise a perfectly normal person. And he was best friends with Prickly, but then he got this idea where he's like, man, fuck recess. I need these test scores to go up. I'm thinking about canceling it. And then Principal Prickly was like, what? And then, of course, because this is the 60s, there was a
protest.
A protest outside the school with the parents who were like, what the hell? And then the superintendent or whatever of education came and was like, nah, man, that's dumb. What are you doing? And fired him and gave the job to Principal Prickly. And Muriel abandoned him too because she's like, why do you hate recess?
Like, I could never be with a man who hates recess. It's like, what is this movie?
Everything
it's
is
TJ's fan fiction about his teachers.
Yeah, pretty much.
Cause he's so moe.
TJ-chan.
That would explain why she has that would explain why she was like a hot 60s babe, but still has the same voice. Because that's the only way
he doesn't know what else she would possibly sound like.
So yeah, he gets fired and he swears revenge or whatever for ruining his life or some dumb shit like that. And...
He's not exactly the Count of Monte Cristo.
Crisco.
I did say that. I did fucking say that just now. That's a different character.
So greasy.
That's why they can't catch him.
So fucking decades later, he comes back with this stupid-ass plan, and it's up to TJ and the gang to thwart it and save
It's up to the fucking Burger King Kids Club.
They're identical! They're palette swapped characters, they're the same fucking people!
I don't remember the Burger King's Kids Club.
Okay, like, even if you want to argue that they're not, Vince is absolutely in the Burger King Kids Club.
Oh my god. Yeah,
Oh my god! You're Vince is... He even has the same color. Like, shirt. They just need a dog and a...
In a wheelchair.
Kid in a wheelchair.
Apparently, according to Vince's wiki, he had a dog, but it was only ever mentioned and nothing is known about it. He just has a dog. It's probably that one.
You want more random ass facts from the Disney website?
Absolutely.
TJ's favorite food is everything but the tomato surprise they serve in the cafeteria.
That's not...
Michael Jordan is Vince's idol. Spinelli's goal in life was to become an ace fighter pilot. Gretchen has a crush on the whiz kid from Smart Guy. Okay.
Wait.
Now you know some dumb facts.
Smart Guy, the Taj Mowry show?
I think so.
I'm not sure those were contemporary. Let me look that up.
1997 to 99.
Nope, they were contemporary.
Yep, she had a crush on that guy.
She had a crush on Taj Mowry.
Great.
You could do worse. If you're 9.
Oh.
If you're 9.
I like my favorite thing about Gretchen is she is in 1997 she had a little frog Siri.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was so cool.
Voiced by Jeff Bennett. Yeah, he was Siri by way of,
Leapfrog.
I was gonna say Caropio. Who's Hello Kitty's froggy friend?
Oh, I don't know.
Quiero pee. Quiero pee.
Yeah.
Quiero pee. So cute. But yeah, she had a fucking, like, personal mini handheld computer, and I was like, they didn't even have, like, non-handheld computers.
Like, the only computers that looked like that, you'd press one of the 4 buttons and, like, the cow went moo.
Yeah.
I feel like maybe this is magical realism. Maybe, like, they have some, like, this is my coma theory, but it's a lot less sad. that their lives on the playground were, like, a whole lot less, like, adventurous than this. It's like, oh, like, those digger kids, they kind of just dug a hole, and, like, by the end of the year, they got, like, a foot. But then, like, every time, obviously, the ground skier would fill it back up. And then, like, her computer was just, like, some shitty, like, thing, and then they pretended it could do it. Yeah, she found, like, some older high school kid's T-85 and, like, went buck wild.
Yeah. Diggers are just digging with a
Gus is exactly the same.
Yeah. I actually kind of used to do that in elementary school. I'd find, like, sharp rocks and would try to dig for more rocks.
Yeah, I did that too.
Yeah, you just try to dig a hole, and it takes all goddamn year, because we were living, like, I was doing this in Maryland, so the soil is just clay, it's rock solid.
Yeah.
I would, like, look for loose bricks in the brick path, and then, like, pull out worms from the ground and be like, worms. So cool.
Is this what you do?
Who's your favorite side kid? Who's your favorite minor student?
Minor student?
Like, who's your favorite non-gang?
We haven't even talked about our favorite gang. I mean...
Oh, Spinelli.
Spinelli.
Oh, I love Mikey.
Mikey, too. Mikey's dope.
I fucking love Mikey so much!
He's great! They're all great, except, I don't know, Vince is alright.
Vince doesn't really have a personality, actually.
Well, then again, like, we only watched a fraction of this whole show.
Yeah, that's true.
But it's like, I could, like, and I'm not saying we missed anything necessarily, but it's like, I feel like if we watched all of it, then we would get the same amount of, like, episodic material and continuity, but, like, you know, they would have more room to grow on us.
Yeah, but I adore Mikey. Everything about Mikey. He's the best character. One of his episodes was an episode that I remembered, like, as a kid, the one with, Bonky. That wasn't on our list, but that was an episode that I remembered watching as a kid, and that's what I meant with the whole nostalgia thing earlier on in our discussion, where it was like the episode where he's afraid of growing up, so he regresses to playing with these Bonky toys, which is essentially Barney the dinosaur. And then he starts bringing all this Bonky stuff to school and singing Bonky songs, and like everybody's like, what the hell is going on, Mikey? And he has to like have this heart-to-heart with his mom about how he's scared of growing up and thought that if he could just return to the good old days when it was just with him and his mom and Bonky, everything would be fine. And I had that exact same feeling when I was in elementary school, and I was just absolutely miserable. Like, I would bring a picture of my mom with me to school because I hated my life and I wanted to have something that reminded me of feeling happy again.
You see, I didn't see that episode. I remember that very vividly. I remember the bit at the end where he and his mom are having the heart-to-heart, and Gretchen's trying to read their lips. It's like, as far as I can tell, they're talking about food? Because
they have all these pet names. But yeah, he even had the Bonky birthday party, and his mom dressed up in the suit, and his friends were like, God, Mikey, why? Because it was going to be his 10th birthday, and he was scared of turning 10. So, like, I love Mikey.
I think that's my favorite thing is when we talk about like shows and we'll sincerely paraphrase with no jokes in mind, but we'll just say shit that they would never say. Like, imagine just TJ sincerely walking up and like, Mikey, what the hell's going on?
Mikey, get it
Mikey,
together.
what the womp is going on?
Yeah, what the womp?
I like in the womp episode, Mikey used it as fucking. It's like a big whomping helping of mashed potatoes. Whereas everybody else was using it as sucks. Where he was like,
shut the womp up.
Everybody's catchphrases were interesting. There was a teacher who we didn't see in this line of cartoons that we watched, the Mr. the Dude Dudikoff, who apparently had the catchphrase supple.
Supple to compliment TJ's tender.
Yeah, but Supple.
No, you know what was the worst catchphrase, and it worked very well, is that Randall would say moist.
Moist!
Oh, when I first heard that, I was like, no.
How is that a catchword? Scandalous! Oh my god.
You think your roommates heard you say that?
Probably, I don't.
At least they didn't hear us say moist.
They probably think I'm crazy. Tender's also weird too, like...
What are you
Don't
describing?
say it like that.
What are you
TJ.
describing? Like an ass? What's wrong with you?
A boober? Like, ugh.
A boober.
A supple, tender boober? Like,
The supplest boober.
oh.
That's one of those pieces of like, that's one of those ebook eroticas you can only get on Amazon that are like, they're like 12 pages long and they're terrible.
Mm-hmm.
God.
My favorite, not main 6 character is probably Cornchip Girl.
Yeah, she was super cute. She was like suspiciously articulate, even by the standards of this show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
like a
I don't know
second
what she was like, because like she's Cornchip Girl, but then once they established her, she just kind of did her own. She was like the other, like like she could have been a main character almost, but like she was just there.
Yeah, she could have rounded out their group and made
She was just like a voice of random wisdom.
Yeah, she got along really well with Mikey and with Gus. I always liked when the two of them, when it was either Cornchip Girl and Gus or Cornchip Girl and Mikey, they were always really sweet moments.
Yeah, Cornchip Girl's my fave.
Yeah.
I kind of like Lawson because he sucks so bad.
He's just the worst.
Yeah, like he just doesn't stop. They would like give his kid the kid who voiced him like too much sugar or maybe like a little bit of meth and just let him go nuts. He was such an asshole.
Like, not likable at all.
God.
And let's see, there was the Upside Down Girl, which I tried to be, actually, in my school during recess, but a Randall tattled on me, and I was forced to stop doing it.
Yeah, it's the other thing, like,
sad.
Randall sucks at his job.
Yeah.
These kids do everything.
I know! They're digging!
Like,
They're digging
And
holes!
there was a goof about them, like, hitting a pipe or something once.
More than once!
yeah, it's like after Gus taught them to always call the city and ask about power lines. Oh my god. Randall's page on this wiki sucks. Randall is similar to Randall Boggs from the Monsters, Inc. franchise. Stop it. He is like Mo Sislak from The Simpsons. I hate you.
Well, Randall, when I went to middle school, it was called Randall Middle School. And I was immediately, like, put off by it because all I could think about was this character. And that school was essentially if this character was a school.
The elementary school in that district, which none of us went to, was Beavis, and like everybody just did that. Everybody just picked that low-hanging fruit because you know what? That's the ripe fruit. That's how it works. That's botany, dipshit.
Is it botany? Is that what you're talking about?
Low-hanging fruit. I think it's because it's very ripe, so that's why it hangs low because it's heavy with juices and shit.
So juicy.
And wasps.
Do you guys remember, we didn't see this one, but do you remember the Battle Tag episode?
I do not.
They have this game called Battle Tag where it's like everybody would line up on two teams and beat the shit out of each other. There was no tag. It was just a war.
I know.
I remember
the
Spinelli making
kindergarten
mention of
derby.
Battle Tag once or twice.
Yeah.
Yeah. They've had Dirt Clod wars before.
They've just almost killed each other a number of times, which is how you know you're doing childhood right.
Yeah.
Wasn't the biggest foul in Dirt Clod War to throw a rock?
Yeah, that's what Randall accused Spinelli of. And they had that kid trial. And if
I
she-
probably
and she
remember every episode of this show.
Yeah, me too. I was like, but she wouldn't give up, say yes or no, because she actually was saving a cat, and she was saving Miss Finster's cat, and Miss Finster was really happy about it, and Randall felt so bad that he hit himself with a rock and blamed it on Spinelli. But Spinelli wouldn't talk because she didn't want to ruin her cred, but then they would give her a swirly. But then, I don't remember. Everything worked out. It
I
always
watch
does.
that episode. That sounds like a really good one.
It was! All these are so good.
Do you guys know, did anybody actually get a swirly? I think TV made those up.
Yeah, it's just too. It sounds really cumbersome to do. It sounds like I wouldn't like if I were I've never had any kind of inclination toward bullying, but it's like I'm not gonna do that. It could easily kick me directly in the face.
Also, if you
really
fuck up,
strong.
you could drown them.
Yeah,
Like that scene from Michiko and Hatchin. where you drown that guy in a bucket.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Oh, man.
shit.
Oh, also,
So-
Recess School's Out, the movie, came out in February. How do you fuck up that bad?
I don't know. So this
That's probably
show...
a good, boring reason for it, but
It
that's
got pushed back so they could get the rights, probably.
to Purple Haze. To 8
Oh.
seconds of Purple Haze.
Ugh. So this show was animated by 5 separate studios.
Weird.
Sunwoo Entertainment, which I believe animated the film, Plus One Animation, Toon City, Animavision, and Grimseum.
Huh.
That's weird. I guess is that more of a thing? Like, I've heard of having 2 studios, but 5
Well,
studios?
were they simultaneous, or did they
Yeah.
switch?
Wow.
Some episodes animated some things, and some studios one studio only animated 1 episode.
Bizarre.
A couple studios animated maybe a season or 2. Like, it's really, it's weird. Like, apparently a lot of, like, Recess, like, aficionados can recognize the studio based on the character models.
Damn it! Now I have to be able to do that.
Apparently Grimseum is known as the worst.
Did they do any episodes that we watched?
I don't know, but I did notice there were some episodes where it was very funky, like only their arms moved. Like you could tell there was just a separate cell for the arms. Also, that's another thing. The show had digital coloring and hand-painted cells. They kind of went back and forth
I did notice that.
throughout the show. But that's so weird to me. I guess because those all different studios did different things. So
I
it's
gotta
like-
get off the TJ Wiki page because I keep accidentally scrolling past that screenshot of where TJ and Spinelli kiss, and I can't look at that.
I'm not strong enough.
That's not something I need to see.
No, I don't like to see children having relationships. It's weird.
Yeah.
Oh, one other thing. I'm sorry if I'm like hogging the convo, but like one thing that really stood out to me was the like frequent patriotism in this show.
Yeah!
It
Yeah.
was so blatant, and it wasn't just because Gus was a military brat. It was like fucking everywhere.
Like, for America, or whatever. Just fucking all the time with that. And, like, I thought it was funny, because, like, half the time it was for goops, but it was weird to me that it was a running thing.
Yeah, I was like, is this just something they had to do to like...
That honestly, I feel like that was just the state of things back then. You could just say shit like that.
America
Yeah.
was doing
Kinda like that
okay in
one Iron-
98.
like those lines in the Iron Giant that were basically the same thing, but that was more of a time period thing. But I guess so is this.
Well, it was
Yeah, but they were
contemporary.
when they
Just
thought
sooner.
that she was, when they thought Miss Grotke was a spy, they're like, so is she one of ours? Or one of them? I was like, who is them? This is the
They
90s!
don't know.
It
These kids don't know.
With a KG
Their parents-
fucking B? It was 1998!
Oh my god.
I chalk it up to like that kid mentality to just parrot what you hear grown-ups talk about vaguely.
I mean, the damn poster for the movie has a gigantic American flag on it. For
Well, it's
no
'cause, like,
reason.
I feel like that was probably just like that callback to where Gus was Patton.
Well, that's his middle name. It's Gustav Patton Griswold.
Because like I watched the trailer to see if they used Kids in America. They didn't. And literally all of that trailer is the third act.
Of course.
The entire trailer is the third act. Almost all of it. Like 90% of that trailer is the giant action sequence at the very end of the fucking movie. I hate trailers.
But I feel like there were a lot of American flags. Like, Spinelli was wearing an American flag get-up in the ending credits sequence. Like, in other episodes. It's just weird. I'm
Well,
not
I mean,
used to seeing such blatant patriotism.
I mean,
in
that
a cartoon.
was grade school every morning.
I guess.
Yeah,
We
remember
had to
how they
stand
made us
up
do
and
that?
vomit blatant patriotism.
Yeah, I forgot. Yeah.
Every fucking morning. Is that still a thing?
Yes. I remember
It's weird.
doing it until
I feel like we're just
senior
not
year.
that country anymore.
We're not.
We're really not.
Everybody's Miss Grokey now.
Yeah, we don't like this place. We just live here.
Everybody was like, so if during these games, would you be voting for the American side? And she's like, yes, I love America. Why are you asking me if I don't?
But it's like, I mean, I watch the Olympics and I'm like, yeah, America's had its fucking time. I am not rooting for white people anymore.
I mean, there's not white people in America, too.
Yeah, I'll root for them. Anyway,
Basically, we're not rooting for white America, which is absolutely its own thing.
yeah. So, let's start wrapping this up. This show,
Okay.
I think we were all very pleasantly surprised with how well this show works. Because there have been times when we were like, oh man, I remember that show was dope, and we go back and look at it, and it's not as good as remember because that's what nostalgia is. But this really holds up.
There's a reason why it was one of the more successful shows of its time, and why I remember it being one of my favorites as a kid.
There's just something about the wish fulfillment that that brings across that's very, very cathartic. It overall just really works.
Yeah.
It's one of those shows that like Clarence does its own thing in evoking childhood really, really well. In a world where the rest of the media is a bunch of old people scratching their heads going like, how do we connect to these hippity hoppity young youths? and meanwhile, like the talented people are just like kids are kids. Let's just make a show about that was what was like we did.
And the suits are like, but will they watch it if they don't have stupid baggy pants?
It's like what Principal Prickly said at the end of the movie. It's like, you don't think I remember what it's like to be a kid? Like, my mom always, or our mom, me and Nikki's mom, always like tried to tell us that stuff about our teachers, where it's like, they do it because they want to do it. They wouldn't be there if they didn't care. They don't make any money or anything. And like, the trick is to like remember what it's like to be a kid. And everybody was once a child, so I don't understand these people who have like no clue whatsoever. It's like, are you really that far removed?
Yep.
Yup.